Hey, what's up? So if I was to give this movie out of 5, I would give this a solid 3. Look, it's not a perfect movie, it's not like the best movie out there, but for a Nigerian movie, I was kinda impressed. This comes from Ramsey Nouah. If you don't know who Ramsey Nouah, think 2000s. If you're a millennial, you probably know his face. He was like in almost all Nigerian movies. He's a very popular Nigerian actor, and now he's on the director's seat. And for once, I've never really been a fan of Nigerian movies because I don't like the way they're shot. I never used to like the way they were shot. I never used to like the way they're paced. Even today, I think that Nigerian movies are poorly paced. Let's just be honest, I was really impressed by Gaza. Gaza is like the villain. Primary, secondary villain, because there's the overall villain who is, for most parts, undercover. But Gaza is now the one-dimensional bad guy. I really loved how he brought to life the character, because a good movie is made by the villain, and this villain is present, this villain is threatening, this villain does some despicable things that just make you hate him and root for the good guy. Now the story is nothing new. If you've watched Transporter 2, there are things that will look very familiar. The plot will feel familiar. Is that, I don't call it generic, that an original take on this particular story, because it's one of those movies that you see a guy go like, you know what, I've been in the life of crime, but this is my last job, I want to change my life. Yeah, I'm done with this shit. And then, obviously, because it's the beginning of the movie, he has to be brought back and he has to go back into doing the things that he said he was not going to do. But the thing that I liked about this was, for example, the guy who plays Tòkunbò. He's a very good actor in terms of expressions. I liked, Nigerian movies and over exaggeration is a thing, but I like the way he doesn't talk a lot. There a lot of expressions are used within the movie, and when he does, he's very punchy, he's very quick with his dialogue. So it's, especially now when you put that main character and a character called Nike, the young girl, very, very interesting. They don't get a lot of screen time together, but when they do get that screen time together, they're actually very, 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 very good. Nike is, for me, another impressive. So there is Gaza, there is now Tòkunbò, in terms of the characters that I liked, their performances. And then there's Nike. Her dialogue was super impressive, and her delivery was like super good, because she's one of those characters who was just on it. She was just delivering her lines, and her dialogue was quick, fast, punchy, like, let's go, let's just move on to the next one, and very unpredictable, because there are some things that she says, especially when she's introduced, like after she's been kidnapped. There's a moment that she wakes up and there's no whatever to make her sleep, and she just comes up, her dialogue pops in, and it's so unpredictable. You don't know what she's thinking, you don't know what she's going to say. And even with the ending, she says something that surprises me, and I was like, wow, she was written very well. She was written to feel like, a very curious kid. And that's something that we miss with child actors. We don't make them sound and feel like, they are curious. That sense of curiosity was so alive with this character. Now, in terms of the visual effects, I love how this movie looks like. This is a very beautiful movie. This is like one of the best looking movies that I've seen in terms of Nigeria. Of course, it's Black Book, but this one has its own style. They use a lot of shallow depth of field, which means that they blur out everything else and then focus on the subject. So every time a character pops up, even if there's something in the foreground, they'll really focus on what is in the midground, which is the subject, and then blur out the background, blur out the foreground. So I thought that was very good. You never get out of touch with the character. You never lose track of the characters when they are on screen, because everything else is blurred. I thought that was pretty cool. The lighting is really, 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 really good, especially during the fight scene. The fight scene wasn't something special. I wouldn't call it something good, but the way they use light and Gaza's workshop or whatever it is, the way they use lights to actually light up the place, because it's a very dingy place, and then you have light coming in from all these places. I thought that makes for a very beautiful picture. And then the way it's shot, the white shots, and then the way it's edited, they did this thing whereby during the first act, the editing just goes. So you feel like you're moving very fast in very many different areas. So the scope is increased. It feels larger. It feels bigger in terms of scope because of that editing and those wide establishing shots, because you see different places in a very short span of time. So I thought that was pretty well done. And then the color work. I can remember yellow and blue. I can remember characters who had yellow. I can remember characters who had blue. Now, outside that, the set designs are also really good. The opulent look the part. The impoverished, the poor look the part. Their outfits, but that's nothing new to Nigeria. Nigerians are very flamboyant, even in their movies. They love to show off. And so you get to see that part. You get to see the show off, and you get to see the people who are struggling. Now, in terms of the writing, well, it's okay. It's okay. It's not something that I can go like, oh, it's the best writing ever. Apart from Nike is written very well. Apart from Nike, Gaza is also written very well. The writing it's okay. So, spoiler alert. Third act, fight scene. Now, as much as I like the way the movie was shot, with the rain and the light and just the general look of that particular fight scene, and them just going through stuff to actually get there. That I like that. I like that idea of moving from one area to the other, causing a bit of distraction. That was pretty cool. But choreography, man, invest in someone who understands a bit of choreography, because there were a lot of time I wasn't buying what was happening on screen, and then it was paced very poorly. It was very slow at one point and very fast at one point when it did not need to be fast or slow. But for me, the biggest problem is that the movie had established something about Tòkunbò in the first act, whereby he has a punching bag and he's doing, press-ups, he's exercising. So as much as he was tortured, because if you know anything about boxing is, is one of those things like riding a bicycle. It just kicks in. If you've been practicing enough, it just kicks in. Like any other training, it just goes in. So as much as he was tortured, I didn't understand why Gaza had the upper hand. Let me put it this way. If you follow Gaza through that movie, dude was not doing anything. He just had the machete and he was just talking, just sitting down, having sex, talking with the machete. We never really saw him do any exercise. We never saw him lift weights. He was just chopping off hands, doing bad things to women. But then you have this other character who it's established that he was actually doing a lot of exercises. If you are to put them in a room, even if one was tortured, then obviously who would have an upper hand throughout the fight. Yes, you have that ending, but who would have a upper hand based on what they've been doing every single day. Even if they were broke, even if they were whatever, where they will be. Now, apart from that particular scene, there were other small loopholes that I had a problem with in the movie. Like, for example, Nike, when the car goes into something, she is the one who's supposed to rescue the guy, because remember, she's a swimmer. Yeah? You get? Now, the other thing is that I absolutely loved the motivation. Each character had their own motivations, and I liked what they did with the primary motivation for the primary character, because you wouldn't think they will take it there. In movies like this, you think, no, they can't do that to that. They can't do that to that. There's no way they can touch that. There's no way they're going there. But in this movie, they actually go there. So this is, I know some people are going to go like, oh, it has some pacing issues. Oh, it's kind of boring. It's kind of sleepy. Yes, it gets very slow during the second and third act. But there's something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the movie for what it was. It didn't take itself too serious. Yes, you have the politics. Yes, you have the wrangles in terms of power and this thing that they're trying to fight over. But it did not really truly bore me. I was actually entertained by what I was seeing. I loved the visuals. This is a very beautiful film. And the music is actually also good, because there's a song, Gaza's theme. I love that song. I liked the song, and I feel like, yeah, people calling it a sleepy, a boring movie. I don't. For a Nigerian movie, yeah, this is good. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed how it was paced. I'm just saying. But for some people, I can see why they would think it would be boring. I understand why they would think that it would be slow. So generally, if you're looking for something to enjoy without, stressing yourself, if you're looking for something that doesn't feel like your ordinary Nigerian movie, this is way up there, because I enjoyed what I watched. I had a great time. I didn't have like the perfect Deadpool versus Wolverine time, but I just thought that in terms of editing, in terms of cinematography, in terms of performances, Tòkunbò as a character, Nike, Gaza, Tòkunbò's best friend, the twist with whatever happens, there's a love story that actually goes kind of sour, and the revolution and the politics. Yes, I've seen it before in Transporter 2, but I kind of liked what I got. But that's because of the cinematography. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a sucker for beautiful pictures. So basically, that's it. Give the movie a try. Don't let people discourage you. Just give it a watch. Sunday afternoon, give it a try. See what you think. I'm sure that you'll enjoy how it's shot. First of all, I'm just sure you'll enjoy the visuals. For some, it will be the outfits, but for most part, it's a very beautiful film. So basically, that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. I shall see you on the next one. Adios.